You know what they say, Phoebe?
What did it say?
Another day, another durian.
Oh, cool.
We're here, the beautiful Bali Island. Great setting. Golden hour is approaching us. The sun is shining. And we have this beautiful durian that also is shining. Even without sunlight, I think it would still be shining bright like a star. So I think we're going to have another one of our casual durian chats. We set everything up and we put the durian here and we're ready to eat the durian and we sit down and we never know what we're going to talk about on these durian episodes. So I think first let's just crack it open. So first let's just admire this. So actually every durian up to date has been purchased from a roadside stall.
Okay.
This was purchased on Grab last night. A guy came on a bike and delivered it. A little pricier, but I mean, that's just a service that you got to shell out a little extra cash for, you know? So that's okay. In what it lacks for in size, I'm hoping that it makes up for in sweetness and just juiciness. You ready?
Yeah.
You ready for the...
wait.
Okay. Let's go. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. Small little pieces. That's okay. It's smelling good, though. I'm going to just hand that completely over to you.
Thank you.
That can be your plate, if you will. And let's both get our first creamy, for sure. Certainly very, very creamy.
Oh, you should be very careful with the shell.
Yeah, it's prickly. You got to grip it like this. You got to put your fingers in the shells.
Go.
There you go. You good?
The master of that.
Maybe that should be a module in the Chameleon Club. The Chameleon Club, a free community in which there are people living all over the world in different cultures trying to adapt to the local society. If you want to join, the link is in the description. That's a quick plug. Normally we wait till the end to do that, but it just fit in very naturally. All right, cheers. Yeah. Cheers. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah.
Okay. Worth the premium charge to get it delivered by bike?
Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Well, great. What are we going to chat about? Because we have durian, but there's also a camera and microphones in front of us recording, and we should probably speak about something.
It's very frequent.
It is.
Yeah. I would say like...
Gotta get some napkins there. Hold on, everyone. Hold on. All right. There we go.
Yeah.
So
I think... So since we've been like... on this beautiful island for like I think nearly like
it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah. Because before you mentioned you've been here like for 3 months, right? So it's not the first time here.
No.
Did you? I mean, I'm really curious. Like, what's that 3 months be like? I mean, your first 3 months in Bali. What is it like?
Well, Bali has always had the allure to me as far as it's basically one of the capitals of the digital nomad community, of which I would say I don't really consider myself to be a part of, but formerly was very enthusiastic about. And it was always a central spot where there are a ton of people who will work online and come and live here short and long term. And so I always wanted to visit. But I mean, I had been in Asia for a couple of years and I'd been wanting to come at some point. I just didn't fit into the plans, but basically, I guess this requires a little more backstory.
Yeah.
When I first came to Asia, ideally I would have come straight to China. Originally, when I graduated, I wanted to come straight to China, but Asia wasn't open at all, so that's why I went to Colombia. But then the following year, Asia began to open up, and so Thailand and Vietnam were open, and so that's where I went first. And then I spent like a month living in this village in northern Thailand, in which there's a Chinese-speaking community.
Wait, Chinese-speaking community in Thailand?
Correct.
Cool.
Correct.
Never know that.
Yes. And so basically I lived in that village because it was the only like Chinese-speaking place that I could be that was open. And then after that, other places started to open up. Notably, Taiwan opened up like a week before my visa was up in Thailand. So I decided to fly to Taiwan, went to Tainan because I figured Taipei there would be a lot of English and I wanted to be in a no English environment. And so I was in Tainan for 3 months, Malaysia for a couple months, back to Taipei for a few months, and that's when mainland China opened up its doors to tourist visas again. But I didn't have one yet. So I emailed, I didn't want to go back to the US just to get a visa. So I emailed all of the visa offices in Asia. The only one that responded to me like relatively promptly was the one here on the beautiful Bali Island.
Well,
So that's why I came here primarily. It was to get that visa, get
So
the Chinese visa.
so you have to stay like so it's not like a couple days things. You have to stay in Bali for like a pretty while to wait for the visa, right?
Well, I'll put this down as I
Yeah.
continue to develop this story here. So I ended up coming here for the purpose of getting the visa. And it was such a ridiculous experience. I'm okay. I think I'll take a little bit. But basically I was planning my departure from Taiwan. I can be there. Americans can be there 90 days at a time, visa free.
Mm-hmm.
And I normally like to maximize the time I can be there. And so I called the city government and this was a conversation in Mandarin. And I was like, hey, I arrived on this date. I'm booking my flight to leave. What is the last date I can fly out to not receive any sort of penalty?
Mm-hmm.
So they gave me the date, booked the flight for that date. Because some countries are different as far as they count day one, your arrival, as part of the total number of days. Like that's day one. But some places will say it's your first full day is day one.
Okay.
So that's day zero. So there's always like on that last day, you're never really certain. So that's why I called and then confirmed, and I thought we had a complete understanding. And as I say, thought, I think you know what ends up happening. So I show up to the airport, and he just goes, "You overstayed." I go, "What do you mean I overstayed?" He goes, "Your last day was yesterday. You overstayed by 1 day." I go, and so I told him what happened. He was like, "Dude, I can't do anything for you. You need to go over and deal with like the appropriate government authority about this." He was like, "There's nothing I can do." So I go over to talk to them, and they go, "Yeah, seemed like a pretty routine thing." But they go, "Yep. So it's a $60 penalty, and then you can leave." And so I like try to plead with them. I'm like, "But like I literally did everything I could." And they were like, "If you want to get on a plane today, you pay this fee." I was like, "Okay, whatever." So I hand over the $60. I'm like, kind of sucks, but like, whatever. And then he stamps my passport, and I go, "What's that stamp?" He goes, "You can't come back to Taiwan for a year without a visa."
Wow, that's
And so that was what was more devastating. But the even more devastating part was that I was flying to Bali to apply for a mainland China visa. And there was now a stamp in my visa in the Chinese language that says overstayed. And so I thought that wasn't the best look for me trying to apply for my Chinese visa.
mm-hmm.
And so I was basically like, had the worst flight pattern, and I was scrambling to like see what it said. Did it say overstay? Did it not say overstay? Because it was in traditional characters, so I couldn't tell exactly what it was. I heard Taiwanese people speaking in the airport. I asked him what it was. He was like, "Yeah, it says overstay, but don't worry about it. You're good. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Okay." Well, anyways, I arrived in Bali. That first month, I decided to stay. I think I had a lot of stuff to get done, so I stayed in like this co-living type thing. So a bunch of different foreigners, and then you have included access to a co-working space.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of this all-inclusive situation. It was nice. And so the first few days were getting the visa sorted out. So I made my appointment when I was still in Taiwan, and scrambling to get everything together. There's forms that I didn't realize I needed to have that I didn't have yet. So I was scrambling to fill all those out. And then I had to find a printer, and the nearest printer was like a 10-minute walk away. So I went to print out all things. Okay, great. Now I have everything printed out. And then I read on the form, cash only. I go, I don't have cash. And so I have to walk to the nearest ATM. That ATM doesn't work. Go to another one. That doesn't work. They just keep not working. It ends up being my debit card is not working. It's like it's shut off for some reason. Happens sometimes because I have a very like local bank. And sometimes when I am abroad and overseas, it flags. They're just not used to people pulling out money in ATMs in random corners of the world as frequent as I do. So it wasn't working.
Situation.
And so then I had one of my American Express credit cards. And so some of the ATMs accept it. There's like a high fee for the cash withdrawal, but whatever. It's like I need the cash. And so that doesn't work either. And so then I get on the customer service. I have to like call them, but I don't yet have a phone number. So I get on Wi-Fi and like call through Skype to call them. And they go, okay. And after like a half-hour process, they go, okay, we can approve you for one transaction. I have a temporary code. Well, you get one transaction until we get it all sorted out, which will take like 7 to 10 days.
The only
I go,
chance.
okay. So I have one transaction. The issue is that this visa to go to China, the entire, I can't remember exactly what it was. It was like $130, something like that, US. I'm going to do everything in US. In Bali, most of the ATMs and the ones that are accepting American Express, maximum withdrawal per transaction is $100.
Oh no, that's wow. That's
But I could only do one transaction because I had like this temporary thing. So I'm like, okay. And so some of the ATMs are a little less and some are a little more. And so I'm like going to different ones. The maximum I could find is that. And I was like, I'm running out of time. My appointment is in like 2 hours. So I get the $100 and I'm like, I got to come up with $30 somehow. And so then I look at my wallet and I have like cash from Vietnam, cash from Thailand, cash from Malaysia, cash from Hong Kong, for all these different places.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like $5 a piece for each country. And so I go to a cash exchange place.
okay.
Not as legit as the one that I brought you to.
Oh wait, do you mean the cash is the one we usually saw here, like on the street? You can see the board.
The ones that maybe I shouldn't be talking about because I think they're illegal. But it's just like, yes, the little like almost huts. And I apologize if using the hut is kind of mean, but like what I'm about to tell you about my interaction with this guy will tell you why I'm describing it in such a perhaps demeaning way. So I walk in and I just know that it's like there's going to be trouble, but I'm racing against the clock. And so I'm like, all right, man, I need this amount of money. I've got all these bills from all these different countries. Let's do some math. He's like, okay. And so I said, I'm like, Malaysia. He's like, okay, the Malaysian money is worth this much. I'll give you this much for the Malaysian money. I'll give you this much for the Hong Kong money. This for the Vietnamese. This much for the Thai. Like, okay. And so we get to a number, and the number I needed. So one of the oldest tricks in the book in this part of the world. He goes, okay. Starts counting the money. Count.
Professional.
Leaves a few bills in this hand. Goes like this with this hand. Drops the bills behind the desk. And I go, not my first time. I saw your hand. I told you I need that certain amount. Like there's something important that I need this for. And he's like, he starts pleading with me. He's like, sorry, man. He's like, the boss, you know, my boss needs. I'm like, how much does your boss need, Matt? He's like, 10%. I'm like, okay, like a little high, but I need this money. You could have just told me that up front, and we would have been cool. We would have been cool. Just tell me that. Don't try to steal money from me, because I need it. Like normally, I would let it go, but I was like, I need this money, and so all right, I have a sufficient amount of cash. I'm sorry, I told the story incorrectly. I was late to the appointment, so I took a bike to the appointment, took it to the embassy. Get there, the guards at the embassy tell me this is not the visa center. The visa center is at a different hotel.
Oh no!
I had to call another bike and go there. And so I sprint in. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm late. This is the situation. I say it all in Chinese, like super, like polite Chinese boy. I like turn on my good Chinese boy mode, and I'm like, 不好意思，我知道了，但是就是我的情况. Like I'm like pleading with them, and she just looks at me. She goes, we don't speak Chinese. Like they were Indonesian. They just work at the visa center. And I go, here's the situation. I don't have enough cash, but he's like, as long as you come back before we close, it's totally okay. So that's when I go on the escapade to then go to this money change guy. So I find that money change guy, get the money. Now the money's sufficient. And then I rush back. And then I have the full money. And then she's like, your flight ticket to China. I go, what do you mean? The form, I thought it had said, but it wasn't very clear, was if you have an invitation from a person, and you have all their information, which I did, you didn't need your reservations. But she was like, yeah, you don't need a hotel reservation, so you still need your flight. So I book a flight, but I was going to cancel anyways. Anyways, it was, and then I had to write a note being good Chinese boy to supplement my application because I was really concerned. Like again, like at that point, like my whole life was preparing to go to mainland China.
Oh, this is all the story.
So many years spending learning the language. And I was like, this country, at least in some ways, is going to be a big part of my future. Like I can't get denied the tourist visa. So I had to write my good Chinese boy letter. Hey, this is what happened. There was a miscommunication. I promise to uphold all the regulations of my visa. I will never overstay when I'm in mainland. I will leave. I will make this. Anyways, 2 weeks go by. I get the visa. I was not ready to go yet because I wasn't sure exactly where I was going or anything like that. So I decided to stay another month here in Bali, which brings us back to your original question. That second month, I stayed in a village about like a half hour north of Canggu. It's okay, just leave it.
Okay.
And I stayed with a family. I rented a room from a family, a homestay, if you will, for a month. So a lot of the things that you've talked about seeing the offerings or the preparing, I had a very immersive experience.
Sorry to interrupt. So they are the Balinese,
Yes,
right?
Balinese family.
Sorry.
So I stayed with a Balinese family, which was awesome. Very cool experience. And
Wait. Actually, this part I might want to like expand more because right now I'm sure like that month because you actually stay with them. I never knew before I stayed with a local Balinese family.
Yes.
Can you like expand more about the story? Like some like the funny things, or you think it might be helpful for us to understand more about the local culture in Bali?
Crack open this piece and we can discuss it over.
Yeah, for sure.
Durian.
More Durians for stories.
More Durian for the stories. Here, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Here, all you do is just put your fingers in between the prickles, or just fold it. You're in the inside. You put some fingers here and your thumb right there in between the prickles. There you go. And then you can it's like a plate. I prefer to hold it like this.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So yes, I lived with a family. I have found it on Airbnb and messaged them and basically was like, all right, I'm going to go rent a room for them and stay for a month. They didn't have any reviews on Airbnb. Kind of a risky move for those who know, but they ended up being absolutely lovely.
No reviews. Oh, it's pretty scary to me.
How bad could it be, you know? But anyways, yeah, I ended up staying there, and it definitely got me on like a early rising, early to bed schedule because that's what they do, which was nice. But so basically I would wake up in the morning and or waking up early, rising early is what I meant.
Sorry, I have more. I'm so curious. So like when you speak of deer, you have to switch your morning routine. So like, I mean, for the routine that did you find like? So I'm curious that did they actually tell you like, oh, we have this kind of like routine. You have
No, I don't have to. No, I don't have to do anything.
But you're just being observant and you just do it naturally. You have to like adapt.
Because
to, like,
what I was about to say is like when I got up at 6:30 or 7, that's when they're preparing the offerings. So the mother of the household, the woman, and her mother-in-law, it was the house was of the husband, and so the wife was from North Bali. Yes, that is trash. I will here you go. Would you like another piece or not yet?
That'll be great.
Okay, sure. Here, you can take the whole thing.
Thank you.
She had married in, and so normally they'll live at the house of the husband, and so they would the woman and her mother-in-law would be preparing the offerings every morning. So I got to see that. I would go downstairs and make myself a cup of tea, and then sit on a chair downstairs and kind of hang and just watch them make the offerings, and then put the offerings in different parts of the house. For those who don't know, pretty much every Balinese family, they will take out loans to do so if they do not already have one, but they will have like private, they'll say temple, but it's really like collection of shrines almost in their homes. You kind of see that.
So like literally every house, every family like have this like pretty delicate temple. No, before I thought it was like
people
built,
will take out loans to build those if they don't have them. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense because it looks pretty. It's so delicate and very luxury.
It's a very important part of like their life and the culture. So
like the temple, like sorry, I'm just
go ahead. You're good.
Question.
You're good.
So the temple thing, like, because I had never got a chance to like being real like can like just like discover all of this stuff from a local Balinese family.
Sure.
I've seen one from my cooking course, but I feel like it would be disrespectful just to step on the temple area. But I do notice they place a lot of the photos, but I can't tell if they're their ancestor or their family members. I just want to know, so like, what actually were they do, and what's the point of placing all the different stuff there? Can you share a little bit things from your observation?
My technical and academic knowledge that I do not
No,
fully have, but
maybe just share your candid thoughts from that experience.
well, basically, it's they made the offerings each morning. Sometimes they'll prepare them in the evening as well, and then there's different temples around the home, which represents a different deity of a sort, if you will, and so they'll do that each morning. So there's kind of like steps in front. They'll go up, wave some of the incense around the deity,
Yeah, I saw her.
place it in front, and do that all around the house. I believe each deity will have a different meaning, but regardless, in Balinese Hinduism, these offerings are about warding off the evil spirits and about like appeasing the gods, which has a bit of a grip over the lives of the Balinese in a way that I know that I don't want to say burden because it makes it sound negative, but like it's a big responsibility, and it takes a lot of time to fulfill that responsibility to continue to make these offerings and complete the ritual each morning. And so they'll do it in the home, and then they'll go around the neighborhood. So then people will put it in front of all their neighbors' homes. Maybe there's a community temple of a sort. And so, yeah, I mean, that was kind of how I got up and spent my mornings. And then I would get my stuff ready, maybe call a bike, head into town, go to the gym, cafe, get some work done. And then so I'd spend my mornings and evenings like with them at the home. And then during the day, I would kind of go off and do my own thing. But yeah, it was a very cool experience. And obviously it's part of my MO, what I like to do and live a little deeper. Obviously we're doing it a little differently while we're here, mostly because it's difficult to find the amount of rooms that we needed at your family's home. Like I'm sure we would like to do a homestay at some point, but it was difficult to find a certain amount of rooms at a for such a long duration on such short notice. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yep, you take those.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, it was cool. And again, it's just like amazing to have a lot of the people who two different types of homestays. So there's homestays where people will have like 8 or 9 or 10 rooms open, and they really run it like a business, and it's almost like a
Guest house?
Yes. Homestay is another word for guest house here, but when you find it, the people who have like 1 or 2 rooms and perhaps don't live in the city center, that's when you really the people who want to run that, like one of their primary motives was they have young children who the woman like wanted her children to interact with foreigners and practice their English, just not be shy. So I'd hang out with them a lot. But like for her and people who will do that is like they really genuinely want to show travelers like their real culture. So like they were totally open to questions. Like I ask anything, talk
Sounds perfect.
late into the night about different things. I remember one point I had a cut on my foot that got infected and I was getting sick. They took me on a bike like at 2 a.m. in the night to go get medicine. Like amazing. So yeah, that was that month here. And then the third month was before you got here. With my mother was here for like 2 of those weeks, and then I was kind of hanging out on my own for a couple weeks. Oh yo.
Yeah, I guess while we're cracking
open another.
I mean, I since you got more durians, I actually want to like maybe I really want to expand more about that month when you stay with the local Balinese family. I have so many questions.
Yeah,
sorry.
Continue. No, you're good.
But we have
because I know you've when you've been walking around, you've been wanting to ask people. So I can't give you the full answers, but I can share with you what I do remember. Did learn at that
that'll
time.
be great.
Sure.
So the family you stay with, like, is it like a huge family or like?
Husband, wife, the father's 2 parents, both alive, and then there were 2 children, and then other family members would kind of be in and out. They didn't live there, but they would come and visit. Yeah.
So like the kids like us that will go to school every day, and mothers stay home and do the
the mother. So the mother, which is not normally common, had like the corporate job. So she would go into the city and work in like a corporate office.
So
in 9 to 5.
Kind of the traditional.
Business trip. She'd be going to bank, she'd be going to other cities. Like yes, yeah. Which again, some of the conversations about how it's don't want to say a burden, but it just takes a lot of time and effort is difficult for someone, especially in her role, who has both this very legitimate, real job, and doesn't necessarily have the
Yeah,
time.
you have to get up really early. I mean, before I saw if they're like if they stayed at home like all day, I probably like after doing offering, they can just be back to home and
Rest
continue doing
and hang
other
out, yeah.
domestic chores. But consider she also needs to go to the city to like I mean go to the office, and before because you start your work day, you literally have to like start pretty early to like finish all the offerings. I mean, it is very time consuming work.
Well, that's why she would often say she's very fortunate that her mother-in-law is still in very good physical shape and can do everything that she was always able to do. She wasn't slowed down or, again, unable to do any of the physical parts of the responsibility. So having her help, but again, she's just like, when she gets older, like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do.
Ah, so like probably like, yeah, that's the kind of thing like I really feel like it's pretty amazing. Like, cause you remember before like when I ask you like, I mean, I mean a lot of people like they also do the offering like in China but in different ways, but since it's like a daily thing, so people like actually they will figure out some way try to make it not that become like a burden.
Well, I think it's just part of the routine, and it's dividing up the responsibilities. But again, like, it has such a grip on the lives of the people here that it's just very admirable, the amount of
Yeah, it is very
dedication
admirable.
they have to appeasing the gods. It's a lot.
Yeah, so I just couldn't help it. If this seems like if it's from was my grandmother, sorry, just bring her in. But she would say like, oh, I will do offering, but I probably would just buy some like the fake flower from IKEA. You know, you can get me some, and I would replace it every day.
That will not appease the Balinese gods.
Yeah, and probably just buy some real food like monthly and just offer to the god. That's it. I mean, that's a lot of people do like in the China. I mean, yeah. So like, but yeah, still like, I'm pretty amazed, and I think those are pretty admirable things. What I observed from
I think
from
you
the
would
offering.
enjoy that experience at some point.
Yeah,
family.
but I mean, because for me, like, I'm only like the outsider. I mean, experience one or two probably would be nice. It is a pretty unique experience, but it could imagine like if you have to do it like every day, and not to mention
You
like
see, when you walk out that gate, people from the neighborhood put it in front of our door
yeah,
every morning. When
do you remember at all the time I really want to do this just
yeah, you try to get up early and earlier every morning to try
Today,
to catch us, but they're always ahead of you.
I figure out there
Okay.
is like a young lady drive her bike out away from somewhere I don't know, and you literally just drop off all the offerings and just lit the incense.
Lovely.
Yeah, not
There's no evil spirits here.
Yeah. I mean, every day they, I actually sadly I don't have time to express my my gratitude. Yeah. I feel like it is a pretty memorable thing, like for them to keep this bad the spirits away from our home, even if we're those foreigners maybe who don't believe these things at all. They keep doing that just for keep our safe.
Sure.
I mean, it is pretty admirable, and also like, so like that month, because I feel like it's because you're staying with the family, so like it's you're the only foreigner homestay with them, right? Not that in the guest house, you're a lot of foreigners have the chance to interact with the family. So like, is there because I feel like even if they are like they understand like you are foreigner, you definitely have different like routine and tradition from them. Still, I feel like it is pretty. I mean, for me, like if you put me,
I'm sorry. Would you like this, and I can open up the other one, or
yeah, I will have.
You'll have
Can
a
I
big,
have this one?
Do you want that big piece right there? Yeah. It's a big, creamy, fat piece of durian that I like to bestow upon you. Go for it. No. Go.
Okay,
Don't. You were so excited about it, and then you said for some reason you pulled back when I hyped it up.
Yeah, because
It's all yours.
because I feel like
No, it's all you.
There should be something for the storyteller.
No. We're both storytellers.
Okay. So yeah, I think the reason why I keep asking you about more details about that Walmart experience, it's I mean at least to me, maybe most of people like. I mean, I do homestay like, but it's only like 1 week with the family, and also I just also the kids
I'll
from
give this
that.
to you. How about
Thank
yeah,
you.
Cool.
I kids from that family that been homestayed in my house before, so we actually know each other. But for like, just imagine you homestaying in a family, like, and also like you probably like you're not quite familiar with the local culture in a way, and it's slowly like I feel like if you're homestay in like a local family, which means you're the distance between you and the local culture will be like slowly like narrow into like like
Well,
pretty
of course, that's the whole. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole point. That's
I know.
I think that would be the main motivation
Yeah,
to
I
do it.
mean,
And always is
I mean
mine.
for you like
Yeah,
because you
it's
already
literally
have
my goal. It's
exactly. I mean, you already have the mindset. All right, just I would just go for it. I mean, that is what exactly what I expected. But
So there's a door, there's a bed, there's a lock. Should be fine.
yeah, but the thing is, I feel like, cause to me, I feel like it is pretty. I mean, because like staying with a family, I mean, wherever they're from, still feel like it's a very intimate thing. Cause literally which it's not means that you're staying at a different place, or you have to share like public space with other people. But also
No,
means you have to, as you say, adapt
Certainly,
from
yeah.
their
Way of
like
life.
their way of life, yeah, way of life, and also maybe you should like also understand their value and also their some of the belief or something. So it is not like a simple process. Even if you mention that, because I know you are pretty because you've been through that kind of situation a lot of time. So you know,
It's the best way to live.
yeah, you know how to do it, but still like to me like but maybe next time I really want to do that, try that. Maybe we both will try that
Right.
next time. But can you like, can you share something like, I mean, maybe just can help me to prop myself up if because next time we do stay in some one family, I don't want to like, how can I adapt myself? I know it takes time, but
Well, what are some of the things that make you nervous about doing that? Why are you reluctant? First, before I can tell you and encourage you to do so, I need to know what makes you reluctant about the experience.
I mean, first, I mean, I definitely like theoretically, I will try to like gather all this information. I will think data according to what we discussed before. Try to Google all things about their tradition and
Sure.
the things. Try to make sure I'm not being like a super ignorant foreigner to them.
Yes.
But even if I feel like, cause from like based on this experience, like from the last couple of weeks, I feel like that's not enough.
Okay.
So like, I mean, it could be a very simple thing because to the, I mean, I mean, in the end, it's all about like how to interact with people.
Correct.
It is all about people. If you understand it that way, it could be simple, but also it is the most hard part, most difficult part. So I feel like my biggest concern, number one, will be it's just how do you know when to like say no to some of the invites, like for example, if like they're inviting you into some activities, but I feel like I'm not ready yet, or I don't know if I'm okay to like it just because
All right. Well,
yeah, that's the same.
I would say that you were talking about how you felt that extensive preparation online, for example, research, was not adequate.
Yeah.
You would feel.
Yeah.
So if extensive research is inadequate and you can't reach a sense of comfort on the preparation side, you have to work on being okay with not being fully prepared. Do you get what I mean? Like, you do the research online, learn all you can, but even if that doesn't make you feel comfortable, then what you need to work on is how can I just be comfortable not knowing exactly how this is going to be?
Oh,
Does that make
I
sense?
think you're right, because maybe my biggest all my concern, my worry come from because I really want me be like that kind of perfect status, which I'm fully prepared. I feel like very confident about like I'm able to like being capable of like addressing all the kind of situations I'm about to like, encounter.
Sure.
But thing is, things aren't like go in this way as you expected, as you wish. So you have to be prepared like into that mindset. As you say, I agree with that.
Again, like I've said before, if there's a bed and a door and a lock on the door, it'll be fine. I've done it many times. And like, it's generally always okay.
So
People are generally fine and very welcoming.
so you actually have the mindset like you are always like it's okay being
The whole point is you're uncomfortable. The whole point is you're putting yourself into this intimate experience where you're uncomfortable. And as you said in a previous episode, with some of your experience walking around here, you say that the more times you encounter issues and the more times you resolve those issues, you are slowly building confidence.
Yeah.
Doing that is the same kind of thing. The first time you do it, you're probably going to be super nervous. But then you're going to go through the first one, and you'll be like, oh, that was fine. You feel more prepared for the second one, and so on and so on. The more you do things, you're building the proof to yourself that you can get through those experiences and be comfortable in those experiences. This is no different. That's all it is.
Well said. I feel like I mean also like
Are you
maybe
gonna,
Ian,
I don't want to, I totally did give it to you.
you know you deserve that.
Are you sure?
Please take that.
I feel bad.
This is that. Yeah, I mean,
Combine all those things I've experienced so far.
Sure.
I also 100% believe that that suggestion you offered to me. The
It's
whole
less about the preparation. It's just, how can you be comfortable knowing you're not fully prepared? And knowing that you don't need, like, what does that even mean? What does fully prepared even mean? Because again, I told you earlier, like, I rarely will do research anymore because I know that it's just hours going into something and that's giving me a non-realistic representation of how the place or thing or whatever it is actually is. So a lot of the times I won't even do the extensive research that you are looking up, and I'm just like, I'll just learn in the moment. I'll just learn when I'm there.
learn your moments.
Yeah.
That's a good suggestion and strategy for me to apply. And
Jayo.
I will. Thank you. And I feel like, I mean, since we're about to finish the Durian, and also I feel like maybe so first I really want to like thank you for like sharing all these stories and all your your thoughts and your kind of experience and answer all my
Well, thank you
questions.
for your interest and your inquiry.
And also like since we're running out of the Durian, maybe you can share more story when next time we have some more fresh
Sure,
Durian.
I think that's how these Durian episodes should go. It's we should come up with a name for the type of episode, but I can't think of it here on the spot just because I feel so relaxed from that delicious durian that it's hard for me to generate a name right in this moment, but we should do that.
Yeah. And since we're about to wrap it up,
One more mention. I did it earlier in the episode. The Chameleon Club. Free online community hosted on school.com. You can find it at chameleonpathos.com, which is also in the description if you can't remember or spell that out quickly enough, because I know you're so excited to get on there and join. So we will be awaiting you in there. There's people all over the world who are living in cultures and places that they are not originally from and are trying to adjust and adapt in ways that we've kind of been speaking about here today. So if that sounds interesting to you, totally free. You can join, and we will be awaiting you in there. There might be more stories in there, even before the next Durian episode.
Yeah. Really excited to see you in there.
So excited.
So until next time.
Until next time. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.